Well, welcome to Portland Live, featuring the Deerfield Maple Music Makers, and they're coming to us live from Guiding Star Grange #1 in Greenfield, Massachusetts, that venerable site of contra dance, that mecca of contra music. And we are so delighted that you're all here tonight. I'm Kathy Story, I'll be your host. And, as you know, Portland Live is brought to you every third Sunday of the month by the Portland Country Dance Community and by Portland Rain Dance. And we are so delighted that we have this wonderful family band with us tonight. You may not recognize the name Deerfield Maple Music Makers, but you will recognize some of the names in this band. So tonight we have Ann Percival on vocals, piano, and guitar. Hey, Ann. We have David Cantieni on Irish flute, whistle, and sax. We've got their son, Gus Cantieni, on tenor banjo, vocals, and mandolin. And we have Emma Kahn on vocals and cowbell. And we're just delighted to have them this evening. As you all know, our schedule every Portland Live is that we have 45 minutes of music from our band. Then we have a very short break just for some announcements. Then we go back to 45 more minutes of music. And when that's over with, those of you who've decided to go over to YouTube, please come back to Zoom and join us, because we'll get to have a conversation with the band. I want to remind you that all of your tips tonight will go to our talent. You can see the tip jar information for PayPal Me, Venmo, and where to send your checks in the blue screen. That should be probably the first screen you see in Zoom. That information will also be in the chat on Zoom, and you can find that information on YouTube if you scroll down below the video. We hope that you will show your love, if you're able, through your generous tips, but also show your love in the chat. We love to see what you're thinking about this music and how appreciative you are of the band. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ann, David, Gus, and Emma. We are ready for you.
Hi, everybody. Are you there? Are we there? Let's see.
Ready?
Ready.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it's this is our first. It's my first too. My first Zoom concert. So. Yay! I see the hands. It's really great to see the hands. I wish I could see all of you, but I hope to talk to you. I hope to talk to you after the concert. So we're playing a bunch of stuff, some of our favorite things. So this song I learned from the singing of Dar Williams. It's one of my favorite songs. I've been singing it for a long time, and every single time I sing it, I get goosebumps. And it's called The Babysitter, and it's written from the perspective of like a 10-year-old girl, and about her babysitter, and it's about the choices that women had. It was some tough choices in the olden days, in the 50s and 60s, and I had the best babysitter, just like to go on record as saying. Her name was Sandy, and she would often show up to my house to babysit for me riding a horse. And so I personally think I did have the best babysitter, so maybe this song is about her.
And Anne, you've been trying to find that babysitter ever since.
Yeah,
so
I don't know where she is. If anyone knows where Sandy Clark is, let me know.
And we're starting with I guess you can waltz this too.
Yes, you can waltz to it in your houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're starting with a tune that I wrote to go with this with the song.
It's called The Babysitter.
Yeah, it is.
You ready? 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Popcorn. She turned out the lights and we're watching movies, and I don't understand. And she tries to explain how a spaceship can travel through somebody's brain, and there's blood and guts. Oh, did you know? She's the best one that we've ever had, 'cause she sits on her hair, and she's tall as my dad, and she tie-dyed my shirt, and she pierced her own ears, and it's peace. Man, cool, yeah, the babysitter's here. Boyfriend is Tom, but we call him the king of romance, 'cause he wears an American flag on the butt of his ripped up pants. And will they get married, have kids of their own? He says not if she's going to college, we won't. And he kisses her. Oh, did you know? She's the best one that we've ever had, 'cause she sits on her hair, and she's tall as my dad, and she tie-dyed my shirt, and she pierced her own ears, and it's peace. Man, cool, yeah, the babysitter's here. dance at the high school. We made her a big card, and she told us that she'd be the unicorn wearing the pink leotard. Well, there she was, leaping up, just like she said, with a sparkling horn coming out of her head, and she's all, she's the best one we've ever had, because she sits on her hair, and she's tall as my dad, and she tie-dyed my shirt, and she pierced her own ears, and it's peace, man, cool, yeah, babysitter's here. Saturday night, I can't sleep, so we're watching the news. She said, do me a favor, don't go with a guy who will make you choose. And I don't understand, and she tries to explain, and then all her mascara runs down in her pain, 'cause she's leaving me. Oh, 'cause you know, she's the best one that we've ever had, 'cause she sits on her hair, and she's tall as my dad, and I'll make you a picture for college next year, and it's peace, man, cool, yeah, hush, now, don't cry, the best babysitter's here. Thank you. We have a few audience members here. It's very exciting to have live masked audience members.
Well, we sure miss playing for dances, and I don't know if it was mentioned in the introductions, but we are playing from the famous Guiding Star Grange #1 in Massachusetts, and it has become one of the epicenters of dance in New England. And yesterday we had a big celebration for David Kaner, who I have to say, and he is credited for having brought the dance here to the Grange. So a big thanks to him and a big thanks to the Grange. I am currently the president of the Grange and trying to keep it alive till we can dance again.
We're gonna.
We've changed the name. I used to be called the Worthy Master, but due to political reasons, I am now the president.
Thank God. Where are you going, Gus?
Oh, you know, just tuning my instruments.
We have a couple of, what would you say, original tunes.
Yeah, the first one is by my bandmate, Eileen O'Grady, and she wrote it on the mandolin, so it's appropriate that I play it on a oversized mandolin, essentially.
It's called, what's it called, Gus?
The Main Drag. I said that first.
Oh, it's
I
called the
believe.
Main Drag, and it is named after the Main Turnpike, as I understand it. The second tune is Riffle, which another tune of mine that I wrote on the banks of the Colorado River as we were about to descend into the Grand Canyon. as we were about to descend into the Grand Canyon. So, and it has sort of watery feel to it.
Fluid.
And the last tune is called Mary Devlin's, and it was written by our dear, dear friend Sam Bartlett. So I hope you like it. Here we go.
guess
Thank
I
you,
gotta get out
hands.
of the way again here. Okay.
So, let me turn my tuner around. So I collect songs like other people collect stamps, maybe. But this one is a real winner. You might know it. It's called The Gentle Arms of Eden, written by Dave Carter. And I actually learned it from a group of middle schoolers. And so I recently, like a couple of days ago, I actually looked up Dave Carter and Tracy Grammer singing this beautiful song. And he says that he went to sleep one night and he dreamt this song and he woke up and he wrote the whole thing down, which I'm just floored by that. Because when you hear it, it has a lot of lyrics, but he just dreamt the whole thing and he calls it an eco-spiritual. And it's a spiritual telling of the evolution story.
There's, again, another
Text.
tune that we put with this.
Ray,
Text.
there's a text for
There's
you.
a text coming in for you, Ray.
Anyway, if you can hear me, there's a tune that we start with, which any of you who have
The Zoom
technical issues.
We're having some technical issues, which is all about, this is all about Zoom, right? And our technical issues. What's the problem? They want the Zoom level louder.
Oh, we're getting
She
thumbs.
just gave a thumbs.
All right.
Okay, they gave us thumbs, I guess.
Continue.
Yeah, so we start again with a tune that I wrote, and any of you
Wait,
who
you
have...
just
right.
muted us, Ray.
Oh,
Right,
now
I
we're
think-
muted
I
and,
think-
and
no.
our
And our videos.
and our video's gone.
No,
Oh,
we're
we're back.
I think
Okay,
we're good, right?
we're good?
She gave us the thumbs.
We're good?
We okay? Okay, we got a thumbs up
All right.
coming.
So, any of you who have joined us in St. Croix, you have somebody to thank for that, and that would be our good dear friend who has passed on, Doug Frank. And his nickname, everybody in St. Croix gets a nickname, and he grew up there. They call him Goby. And Goby is the local name for, what are those things called?
Calabashes.
Calabashes, that's right. They grow on trees. They're like these big green, they look like squashes, but they grow in trees. Anyway, this first tune, the tune that goes with this song is called Goby.
And we know that Doug would have loved this song. So here you go. Gentle Arms of Eden. On a sleepy endless ocean, when the world lay in a dream, there was music to the splash and roll, but not a voice to sing. And the moon shone on the breakers, and the morning rolled the waves, and single cell did jump and yell with joy, so to say, this is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray into the dark night alone? Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Well, the day grew right around her, and the field was carpet green, and the weary children of the world went dancing in between. And the people sang rejoicing when their fields were glad with grain. This song of celebration from the cities on the plain. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray into the dark night alone? Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. each had one lonesome critter growl, and he looked about and shouted out with his most astonished drawl, "This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray into the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden." Well, the smoke across the harbor and the factories on the shore, and the world is filled with greed and ill and enterprise and war. But I shall lay my burden in the cradle of your grace, and shining beaches of your love, the sea of your grace. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray into the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray into the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden.
Okay.
Sharing the capo. I mean, sharing the tuner.
Well, as I said, we certainly miss playing for all you dancers, and we certainly miss also playing with our bandmates. That last one we have done with the band, and I look forward to the time we can do that again. And there are so many things we've been thankful for this year. In spite of all the strife and commotion, there's the fact that we get to play together. We have a year-long session going. And speaking of sessions, this next tune is one of the session tunes that we like to play. It's we're going to do a set of jigs, a set of traditional jigs. Actually, the middle one was written by Gus. Will tell us about that one. The first one is the Gold Ring, which has a whole story with it. It's about a person such as yourself who might have taken a walk in the woods and found a little clearing patch, and found a gold ring. And then soon after, you felt that you really needed to return it to its spot. And in that time, you met up with one of the wee folk. And in exchange for this ring, you got a very special tune to play. And in the Irish tradition, there are several gold rings. So I don't know how you explain that, but this is one of the gold rings.
And the second tune, keeping with the Irish traditional spirit, they love competition over there. So this is a competition video or a tune that I swiped from a competition video, but we're trying to bring a slightly less competitive vibe to it.
And I had to throw my 2 cents in here, and that is this last tune is Jackson's Morning Brush. And so the reason I love this tune is the chord progression, B2, that is just delicious. So just thought if there are any piano players watching, I just thought you'd want to know.
I brought this to the family, having learned it at the Brattleboro Irish session that I host along with my good friend Randy Miller. I have to say I learned this tune from Randy, so thanks, Randy. So, counting it in? Mm-hmm. 1, 2. Okay,
All right.
another switcheroo here, yeah.
So, this is a song that it's a traditional folk song, and I actually right here? I sung it at my high school senior year sort of choral concert, in which we all had to pick a song that sort of represented who we are and what we wanted to do in the world, or at least a song that commemorated the occasion of graduation. So this is really a song of transition, and it's sort of a song of grief, which often accompanies transition, but hopefully during that transition we're moving towards something better, which I think is quite relevant right now.
You can waltz to this too.
We're really so glad also to have Emma with us. She's been here for much of our year, and we've had so much fun singing and playing and just having meals together. The family. All right, good enough.
All right. 1, 2, 3. I have seen snow get Father May. I have seen rain on a cloudless day. Some things are always bound to change, and there ain't no ash will burn. Love is a precious thing, I'm told, burns just like West Virginia coal. But when the fire dies down, it's cold, and there ain't no ash will burn. You say this life is not your lot. I can't be something that I'm not. Can't stoke a fire that we ain't got, and there ain't no ash will burn. Love is a precious thing, I'm told. It burns just like West Virginia coal. But when the fire dies down, it's cold, and there ain't no ash will burn. That's the reaction we want.
Alright, so we're going to do 2 more sets, and then we're going to take a short break, because we're told that we should do that.
So, another set of dance tunes, though we have taken some liberties due to the fact that we don't have to match up with a contra dance, and so the middle tune is a 3-parter. Anyway, this first tune I was compelled to learn because our friend Bill Connor was asking me something about fingering. It's in the key of C. The tune's Forget Me Not by Larry Redigan. And a little bit about Bill and Betty Connor. They now live in Anacortes, and perhaps you're listening, I hope you are. But we first met them in Alaska, and I think we were debating, but I think it was our second trip to Alaska. They took us on a salmon fishing trip down to Valdez. It took us 2 days, well, probably a day and a half to get there, and we drove late into the night till it got dark around midnight, and slept in the rain. Some of our companions, I think it was Sam Bartlett was there. Sam, if you're there, he had to sleep inside the boat under all these tarps and things. And I
think George slept in there.
I think George slept there too. So it brings back the memories. So here goes Forget Me Not.
Be on the lookout for mischief.
Yes. And then, actually, we'll tell you, it's a Bunker Hill, which is another classic session tune, and not a classic session tune by Otis Thomas. Gus, where did you learn this one?
I found this on a Nightingale recording, which they performed it much slower than us, so that is our excuse.
Alright, so here we go, the traditional contra dance intro. Are you ready? Contra
Okay.
dancers, here you are.
Now,
Now for something completely different. So, first of all, we're gonna take a 5-minute break or something after this. And before I tell you about this song, I just would like to say that we are, for those of you who don't know, haven't figured this out, we are broadcasting from the Guiding Star Grange, but via the Portland, Oregon / Rain Dance Friends. And so David and I, and Gus, when he was a little boy, have been traveling to Oregon for what, 25, 26, 27 years every November. And so the contra dance people of Oregon are so near and dear to our hearts. So thank you for having us. Thank you for all the hearts. Thank you. So I just had to make sure I said that because it's so important to us. And so we are going to sing a little ditty here that many of you know because we've played it for you over the years.
another one of those well, I don't know. I hope it's a hit. I hope it's a hit.
I hope it's a hit too. So it's a tune that David wrote, and we were in St. Croix, and we were watching our little boy bounce around in the waves, and we ended up writing this song to go with the tune. And I do confess, I am a little bit obsessed with pelicans, as some of you know. And so I've done a lot of paintings of them. And now here's a song, and it's going to tell you everything you need to know about the life of a pelican. Ready?
I think so. Yeah. How does it start? Yeah, I know.
1, 2, 3. Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
Over to you, Kathy.
Thank you. Oh, that was fabulous. And David, Gus, and Emma, we are having so much fun dancing to your music and listening to the tunes and your singing and the stories you tell. Whew, it's wonderful. And I'm so glad that all of you could join us here today for this first time to hear this band playing on Zoom. And we are really excited. I wanted to remind you all about the tips. All of the tips tonight do go to our talent. And you can see that we have PayPal Me, Venmo, and address where you can send your check. And that information is in the tip jar. In the first, probably the first screen, it's blue on your Zoom feed. It's also in the Zoom chat. And it's also at YouTube if you scroll down below the video. And we hope that if you are able, that you just show this incredible talent some love and tip as you can. We know it's been a really difficult year for all of our talent within the contra world, and we're so glad that the Portland country dance community and Portland Rain Dance can bring you these concerts every third Sunday so that we can hear the wonderful music of the people we miss so much, come together as a community, and also help support our talent during this really difficult time. I also wanted to give a shout out to all the folks that are helping behind the scenes today. First to Ray Siebold, who is there at Guiding Star Grange #1. He has worked so hard to get this sound right. And we are just delighted that he's there doing all that work, and also the wonderful videography, so we get to see the up close zoom ins for folks during the concert. I also want to say thank you to all the folks from PCDC, our Portland dance community, that help every time we hold these events, especially Kim Appleberry on sound, and William Watson, Christina Appleberry, Ann Noakes, Bryce Holt, and Curtis Roth. It is a labor of love. We love doing it, and it's hard work, but it's fabulous. I hope you all are having as much fun as I am. I have been doing a lot of dancing to these fabulous tunes and love it so much. As you all know, we send out an email before our concerts. So if you haven't gotten an email directly about our Portland Live shows, please send an email request to raindance.pdx@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to add you to our mailing list so that you don't miss any of our concerts. We have a great one coming up in June. On June 20th, we're going to hear from Riptide. And that's Alden Robinson, Glenn Loper, and Owen Marshall. And they are going to be all together. It's going to be warm enough up there in the great north to actually be playing all together, perhaps outdoors. And so we're delighted that we're going to be able to hear from that band. But we do have these concerts. We'll have them as long as we need to have them. Don't know when we'll all be able to come back together in the dance community, but until now, I think that those of us who are able to watch the shows on Zoom and YouTube are really feeling the love. And so I'm glad that you could join us today. We are going to have another 45 minutes of music or so. And then we invite all of you that are over on YouTube, because I know sometimes the sound's a little bit better over there, although Zoom has gotten so much better recently. But if you're over on YouTube and you want to come over and have a conversation with the band, please join us. We are so delighted that Ann and David and their son Gus and his partner Emma are with us tonight and bringing this fabulous music. So I'll check in with all of my co-hosts to see if there's any announcements, other things, any other business that's good for the order, but I'm getting the thumbs up. And so we are ready to go back to hear the Deerfield Maple Music Makers. So over to you.
Hey. We're ready. Except Ann's not here quite.
I'm right here. I'm just tuning.
Show. Just us, right? Yeah. Ready? 1, 2.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I was looking at my notes on this tune, and it says classic Wild Asparagus set. That last one, Wild Asparagus has been playing that since the beginning of time. So, might sound familiar to you.
And I also pass on to that because when he started playing electric guitar, I had to pull it out because we learned it years and years ago from the playing of Artie McGlynn. And it's another one of those sort of classic recordings, but it also had electric guitar. It was really very risque.
We're going to play a little Norwegian tune for you now. The music of my people.
This is called Skepper Schottish. We had to look it up because we call it the Blue Jeans Schottish, and we found that our playing is very authentic because we found a recording of Alf Olafsson playing it. He played it on fiddle, but he had accordion, and it really sounded very sort of even Cajun-ish. So I think the way we've been doing it is okay. And another,
At least Alf would think so.
another note of Thanksgiving, I have to say, is this saxophone that I'm playing. My old silver horn lost a screw early in the pandemic, and this is a loaner from our friends down in Tacoma Park, Larry Ravitz and Marika Partridge. So thanks, Larry.
All right, go ahead now. So feel free to Schottish in your home. Yeah, Ray just turned the dial down. Where's the cowbell? More cowbell!
Party.
So,
Skepper Schottish.
Skepper Schottish.
All right. Let's see.
We're going to play a couple of tunes for you now. What else is new?
And I've always said that my favorite combination is banjo and flute. We each got what the other ain't got. He's got the attack, I've got the sustain. Hang on just a minute, let me get my mic back.
Well, then I'll talk.
Yeah, you talk.
So the first tune is called WT's 97th Birthday. It's by Liz Carroll. Liz Carroll. Fiddle. Fiddler. Divine. Some of you may or may not know, during this pandemic year, I've been taking fiddle lessons with the great Becky Tracy, and it has changed my life forever. All I want to do is play the fiddle, just saying. The second tune is called Skidoo by Steve Cooney, and it's on one of our an album from long ago and far away.
Yeah, honestly, this track is pretty important to me because
Really? Tell us why, Gus.
I dug that old Call of the Wild, this old Wild Asparagus album out and listened through it, and I think this track is what inspired me to play the tenor banjo.
Sam, hear
Because it was
that?
when Sam Bartlett was still in the band, and they just had this killer track with, he took sort of a solo for the beginning of it, and then they slowly built, and it was really cool, and it sort of made me like, maybe I should put down this electric guitar and get a different form of electric guitar. So I owe a lot to this track, and to Sam Bartlett.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Ready? Good luck.
Thanks.
It's in G, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
some dancing going on.
He was dancing.
One minute, Ruckus.
All right.
So this next song is called Crossing the Bar, and it is an Alfred Lord Tennyson poem put to music by Ronnie Arbo, and it was taught to me by the Amadons at Pinewoods Dance Camp many, many years ago. And I always loved it, and it really stuck with me because Alfred Lord Tennyson uses the ocean as an extended metaphor for the transition between life and death, but in a way that isn't tragic so much as it is sort of accepting and inevitable. And this is the first thing that Gus and I ever arranged and performed together, so doubly special for that as well.
So another thing that we did all summer long is that I started to teach Emma how to play contra dance piano, and we would sit around and we would play, and I would play the fiddle and she would play the piano, and what a gift that is. my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar.
So good.
Should we end with this one here? Should we do one more?
Well,
We have
could-
time for one more, right? Because it's supposed to end at 10.
Yeah, yeah. Two more? Kathy wants two more.
Two more,
Christine
okay.
says three.
We happen to have
So
two
we
more,
could-
but we can stop after one. Kathy says 10. Okay,
Okay, so, yeah, okay.
two more.
Time for, well, we're going to talk a little bit about the sap. I think there's been some talk about that already. And it is a big, as I have posted, maple syrup season starts the day I pull all the taps, because it really does take all year to get ready. It's maple season, in other words, is always. And the first tune is a waltz that I wrote. We're calling it Waiting for the Sap to Rise. And there is a lot of waiting involved. I have to, basically, starting in mid-February, I'm glued to the weather predictions and trying to figure out the best time to put the taps in and when it's going to flow. And then I have quite a number of friends who help me out, one of whom is standing behind the camera right now, our good friend Ray and his wife Donna. They've come and helped me collect sap in those buckets. And then we have our boiling parties. We were reminiscing about how last year, it's come around again, one of our last social activities was a gathering at the Sugar Shack. We were boiling and we were just having such a good time, and right after that, things changed. But this year, we figured that all this outside time was rather safe, and we congregated again in our way with masks and everything, but it was a great season, which brings us to the second tune, actually, Boiling in the Sugar Shack. Do you want to say
I'm gonna
something
talk
about
this
that?
tune, because I doubt Jesse is listening, but Gus's bandmate Jesse Ball wrote this great little ditty, and he was playing it in the Sugar House, and of course he has no name for it, so I call it Jesse in the Sugar House. And there's nothing he can really do about that, because that's what we call it, and that's what it is. And then David wrote this lovely tune called Sugar Shack.
Funny
This is
thing
our
about that.
maple syrup medley for you.
And I have to say a little bit more, and that
He
is,
can't
sorry,
stop talking.
sorry.
A lot to say about sap.
Oh, there's just so much.
He just wants to talk about sap.
Actually, I'm going back to the Thanksgiving part of all this. And I'm going to start on this whistle, which I think it's an extended loan, at least from our friends Mary Beth and Tim. And I'm so happy to have this. It's a Copeland low D whistle, which, they're not made anymore. And then there's this flute, which I'm playing tonight, made by my good friend Todd Berger, who is one of your people out there. At least he's down in Eugene, and I think they're listening tonight too. So thank you so much.
And this mandolin.
And
Let's
it's
see.
piano. Here we go. All right, so the first two is a waltz, so feel free to waltz if you like. Ready?
Mhm. They, Christine says two. Okay, we can do it. We can do it.
All right. Then we're gonna do our last set, and then we're gonna do a waltz.
Yeah.
A final waltz.
Okay.
And then we're gonna chat with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We can't hear you, but I'm sure you're saying nice things.
Another thing about the Sugar Shack that I have to share, and that is that last tune really kind of does elicit the feel, I think, because we feel the fire. Once the fire is going, everything comes alive. And if you know that Miyazaki movie, Spirited Away, no, it's the Howl's Moving Castle. The fire demon is called Calcifer. And once I light up that Sugar Shack, I always refer to Calcifer just needing more and more and more and just gobbling up the wood. So, anyway.
Don't get me started about the wood.
What about the wood? Yeah, I know. We used up all our wood. Last.
We've got like 5 pieces of wood left.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. I digress.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah. road.
All right, my
Yeah.
friends, we're going to do a quick little waltz for you by Greg Brown. You've probably heard me sing it a million times, but feel free to waltz or sing along. Singing along is always good. Maybe I should do this, Ray? What do you think? Sure, he says. Ray Seaballs, our grand sound person.
Ray has
Sound
been
maestro.
in our extended family. Ray and Donna have been in our extended family for a long time. Ray helped us build our house.
The whole thing. Here we go. And it's early one morning, I walked out alone. I looked down the street, there was no one around. The sun was just a-coming up over my home. On Hickory Street, a little farm town. It's ooh-wee, ain't the morning light pretty, while the dew is still heavy, so bright and early. It's my home on the range, it's in one horse town, it's alright with me. The clouds roll the prairies brought light. The little towns blossomed, and soon there were many, and they were scattered like fireflies across a dark night. And one was called early, and they sure named it right. It's ooh-wee, ain't the morning light pretty, while the dew is still heavy, so bright and early. It's my home on say one horse town, it's alright with me. It's many dry summers burned out the fields, scorched the fine colors, cut back the years, but the rain has returned to wash away our fears. It's the finest green summer that we've seen in years. It's ooh-wee, ain't the morning light pretty, while the dew is still heavy, so bright and early. It's my home on the range, it's in one horse town, it's alright with me, and it's ooh-wee, ain't the morning light pretty, while the dew is still heavy, so bright and early. It's my home on the range, it's in one horse town, it's alright with me. Now, okay, awesome.
Yes, awesome.
So now we
Just
take out
amazing.
the headphone jack.
Now we're switching over to Kathy, I guess, or something like that. Okay.
Yes, thank you
That's what we're
so
doing.
much.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you, Anne and David and Gus and Emma, for your music and your songs and your stories. And oh, it was just amazing evening. So thank you again so much for being there and bringing this all to us tonight. We have just enjoyed it so much. I want to remind folks about the tip jar. PayPal me, Venmo, and checks, and you should be able to see that both on Zoom and in YouTube. And in a few minutes, we're going to be going over to the to Zoom if you'd like to join us so that we can have a conversation with the band. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who's made this night possible. And David, Gus, and Emma for your incredible talent. Ray Siebold, who's done so much work there at the Guiding Star Grange to make this music sound as wonderful as it does. And to Kim Appleberry and Christine Appleberry and William Watson, Ann Noakes, Curtis Roth, and Bryce Holt, who are my co-hosts every month. It's really been a lovely time. And so we will now be going over to Zoom for a conversation. So those of you on YouTube, I hope you can join us over there. And I know there's a bit of a delay coming over. You should be able to see now in YouTube, down below the video screen, you might have to roll down. There should be a link there to take you back over to Zoom if you didn't have that handy, but we would love to see you back over on Zoom. And in the meantime, oh my gosh, that was such an amazing concert. Thank you so much again, Anne, David, Gus, and Emma. Well, you really made our night, really made our night.
Thank you
so much.
Yeah, we were really looking forward to this an awful lot. It's our one and only performance so far this year. As I was saying, we've had a year-long session at home, which we're very thankful for, but this was pretty good.
Can't make me sit on that piano bench.
Well, there are some other Zoom dance organizers listening tonight. So I have a feeling that if you want to, this will not be your last Zoom event.
Thank you everyone who helped with all the technical
Oh yeah, extra
intricacies.
thanks to Christine and Kim for their patience and affability in the face of crisis.
Definitely a lot more factors to consider than
And our
traditional
audience, we had a live audience of 2, which was very inspiring too. We got to hear a little bit of that. That was good.
Well, you'll get to hear a lot of wonderful information in the chat, a lot of appreciation, and a lot of folks just saying how wonderful it sounded tonight. So we'll send you the whole chat so you get a chance to see all that.
Oh, thank you.
I was wondering, because I can't see it from here.
Right, yeah. There's great stuff in there to warm your heart, because you warmed our hearts. Oh my gosh, it was so wonderful. But let me turn